Good evening, hello, and welcome to the Stream of Blood. My name is Jared Logan, and this is a channel where we play tabletop role-playing games, and this is a very special stream tonight. Tonight, we are playing, I'll say it, our favorite game. It's called Blades in the Dark. You can buy a copy of it. It's from Evil Hat Studios. It was written by a man named John Harper. Wait, oh, there I go. It's an excellent game. It scratches that fantasy itch that you have, to play something with swords and magic. But at the same time, it adds so much to your role playing experience in terms of, how you kind of plan a fictional world around you and your friends. This game lets you do that. It has rules to let you do that, and we have so enjoyed playing it for many sessions. With this particular group, the Tin Whistles, who you'll see tonight, we've played 8 sessions, and this will be our 9th, the finale of their story. Now, there is more Blades in the Dark to come in the future. I'm not saying Blades in the Dark is done, but this will be the finale for now of the Tin Whistles storyline. So thank you for being here. Thanks for showing up. What else can I tell you? I like to always give this a little warning. This is a game played by adults, and it is about criminals in a dystopian city. So that means nasty things might happen. People might get stabbed. There might be violence. There might be gore. There are weird powers afoot. People might control each other's minds. Weird stuff might happen. If any of that makes you nervous, I don't blame you. You can give it a pass. But remember that at the Stream of Blood, we're always really open to hearing your response to any of our content. So please hit us up on our Discord server, the Server of Blood, which we'll put in the comments where you can hit that Discord server. And let us know what you thought of any of our sessions of gaming content. We'd really love to hear from you. Gripes, complaints, concerns, emotional reactions. We read it all and we take it very seriously. So send it to us there. Speaking of emotional reactions, I'm pretty emotional. This has been a really fun little campaign with my good buddies at the Glass Cannon. And to think that this might be the last session with these characters, it gets emotional, right? So I hope we can do them justice. I'm not saying this is the end of these characters, but it is the finale for now. And so let's pour one out for the Tin Whistles at home. Pour one out for the Tin Whistles. Because they're all going to die tonight. That said, let's bring in our cast. I'm privileged and honored to have one of the best casts that you could possibly casts. One of the best player groups. This is a game. One of the best player groups that I could possibly ask for. This first guy, he's the Tom Cruise of the Stream of Blood. We were talking about this before the stream started. He, any role, anytime, let's do it. And he's a hardcore Scientologist. Please welcome, also a member of the Improvised Shakespeare Company, as Marco Coyle, as pretty Marco Coyle, a hood, a cutter with the face of an angel until recently when it got scarred. Please welcome Ross Bryant, everybody. Oh no, you're muted.
And super excited to be doing this game, and extra excited to be operating Thetan level 13.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going up the ladder.
It's done a lot of great things for you. I know.
Yeah, and it can
opened a lot of doors. Opened a lot of doors.
Yeah. Would you like to take a personality test sometime? I think you.
You know what? You've asked me that a lot of times, and I took a non-Scientology personality test and I failed it. So I think I'm going to pass on the Scientology.
Okay, well, we could delve into all the previous lives and just work on getting you clear, my man. But
I hope that doesn't make me a suppressive person, an SP.
Yeah, you're borderline JL. But don't worry, we'll be fine. We'll be fine for now.
How are you feeling? This is the final Tin Whistles for now. How do you
Yeah.
feel?
I feel yeah, just like you, emotional. I love these characters in this world,
Yeah.
and I'll be sorry to bid them farewell. And I just hope we give them the send off that they deserve.
Let's do it. Let's give it to them. Let's bring in our next player. This guy is part of the Glass Cannon Network, where he is a game master, he is a producer, and he is a player. He is just the best, and helped me create the Wicked Empire stream that we recently did with Ross and him at the Glass Cannon.
Oh, yeah.
Please welcome as the jockey Archibald. Please welcome Mr. Joe O'Brien.
Yo, buddy.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. Even just hearing his name, the jockey, I'm like, I'm back.
Yeah.
He's back. I'm so excited.
Yeah. And have you ever had your personality tested Scientology wise?
It's like you, I had my personality tested in a subway. Was it in New York that you had your personality tested?
So if you're a viewer and you haven't walked through the New York subways, the Scientologists are often there, and they will have like little booths set up, a little table, and you can get your personality tested on your way to, your job interview or whatever.
And I also failed. So I think this is why we have a good connection here for this game. We play off each other well. Our failed personalities.
We've already got we've already got an imaginative role play going. We don't need the Scientology.
Right, exactly. We all.
I actually have my notes say Thetans are gonna, like aliens are gonna attack you tonight. So
Yeah,
we don't need
we just need to like stay the course and just run the tech.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, let me just say at the start, out of the gate, I appreciate you asterisking everything with "for now," because I don't want to let go. I was preparing for this game today. And I just kept thinking, it can't end. It can't end. So
it can't be over.
There has to be something. For something.
Hashtag casino boat. Hashtag casino boat.
Yes.
Yes.
But tonight we're gonna have an end of sorts.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of ends, this next guy is an end in and of himself. What does that mean? You be the judge. He is a fantastic game master, player, producer, actor, and we're so happy to have him here tonight playing Stax, the whisper of the Tin Whistles. Please welcome Mr. Troy Lavallee.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
Ooh.
Christmas!
Oh, sorry. Making a little yellow Russian for the stream tonight.
Ooh.
What's a yellow Russian exactly?
I'm so glad you asked. It's vodka, Kahlua, and eggnog.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
It's
Dang.
quite good, and it's a real good drink to keep prehistoric alien souls from inhabiting your body.
Well, I've had 4 straight whiskeys on the rocks before we begin, so I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
Only way to do it.
I mean, it's a
Ross
Blades
and
game.
Joe, are
we going to split hairs here?
Well, I just came from a baby shower, so I'm pretty high on cake right now. But,
Ross has a sugar
night
rush
is young.
going, a strong sugar rush.
I
great.
poured myself a little neat bourbon for tonight. I haven't sipped it yet. It's sitting there. I'm just waiting for when things get real sad.
Come
but
on,
we'll
we're scoundrels. We're scoundrels. We gotta. Come on, everybody, drink with me. Come on, don't make me drink alone.
Okay, Jared, God.
Wow, Jared, a lot of pressure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, bud?
You okay, bud?
Yeah.
Things have been tough at home lately.
Like, do you feel like you need to have a good time? Yeah.
I mean, no, but yeah. Guys,
left out. I gotta
we're
get
all
in.
here. You're here, I'm here, and we're ready to go. Should we play a little bit of Blades in the Dark?
Please.
Oh, I think we
wait.
should. I think we
Then
should.
let me read my extremely overwritten intro. That's always a part of it, everybody. 1,000 years ago, this was a land of beauty and magic. Then came the cataclysm that blotted out the sun and ripped open the gates to the land of the dead. The city of Duskfall is a metropolis of factories and refineries protected by its crackling lightning towers, fueled by marvelous electroplasm. Outside the walls is a wasteland of vengeful spirits. Inside the walls is a wretched hive of scum and villainy, intrigue and corruption. Life is cheap in a city ruled by death. Trademark Jared Logan 2020. The sun is gone. The only thing that shines in Duskfall are the blades in the dark. Yes. So, with that overwritten intro out of the way, we can now talk about where we stand with the Tin Whistles. The Tin Whistles, Pretty Marco Coyle, the cutter, Archibald Gray, the jockey, and Stax, the whisper, have all agreed to engage in a certain score tonight. They spent a lot of their time just dealing with the Foghounds for many episodes, and eventually taking over their crew, wiping out the Foghounds, taking over their crew, taking over the holdings of the Foghounds, their small kind of brothel, their ship. But the entire time, there was a strange element in the crew, and that was the spirit of a young girl, a ghost named Brenda. She haunted them. She was always on the periphery waiting. And last session, which happened in April, by the way, in last session, the crew agreed to take a job offered to them by Brenda. You see, Marco Coyle, following Brenda, had recently found an entire cache of hulls. What is a hull, viewers? It is a very expensive and a very valuable piece of technology. It is a body that a spirit may inhabit, like a golem or a Frankenstein. These hulls had strange ivory masks, and they were guarded by a wall with a weird kind of like goat head symbol that I believe that you all realized later was part of the iconography of the Church of Ecstasy. And there were maybe 100 of them hidden away in this cache in like a access tunnel, a service tunnel in the outlying district of Dunslow. And the ghost girl Brenda has asked you to smuggle, for the Tin Whistles are smugglers, to smuggle these hulls. And keep in mind, these are big, heavy, mechanical bodies. To smuggle these bodies, to smuggle these hulls into the Deathlands, to take them to her people. And by her people, I mean her dead family, her village of ghosts out in the Deathlands. And in return, Brenda has said that she will lead you to a great treasure, an artifact, an object of immense power, forgotten an eon ago in the Cataclysm. So that is the biggest possible payout you can probably imagine if she's on the level. Ghosts are hard to trust, but it's also appropriate to a finale. One of the hardest scores I think you can imagine. You have to get all of these hulls out of Duskfall, past the Bluecoats, the Imperial military, out of the rails, out into the Deathlands, and to her village, which you visited, I believe, in your first adventure.
Yeah.
And so, with all of that, and I need to add one more thing. If you succeed in this, you will. This was part of the reason you guys decided to go for this. You will seize a claim on your cruise sheet known as Ancient Gate. Ancient Gate, which gives you safe passage into the Deathlands. And so, Tin Whistles, I ask you, since we're doing a score tonight, what will be your approach? What will be your approach?
It's so ridiculous.
Most conventional, I think, would be the obvious answer.
Yeah, a conventional approach.
Yeah, conventional approach to taking these.
Yeah. How about, I can't remember the exact keywords. Is one of them safe? The safe approach?
None of them are safe. They are assault. You attack somebody. Deception. You trick somebody. Stealth. You sneak. Occult. You use magic. Social. Negotiate, bargain, or persuade. And transport. Carry cargo or people through danger. Now, that is the obvious one.
Yeah.
It's transport, unless we come up with a complete other way.
Just throwing this out there,
Do it.
could we transport using our boat, or did we lose the boat?
No,
No, we
you have the boat. You
we have the
reclaimed
boat.
the boat.
But can the boat reach the Deathlands? Does it like run up the coast, or is it just
Yeah.
like desert out there? Like,
What a really interesting. See, this is what I love about Blades
Matt.
is and role playing games in general. I didn't think of that. Yes, according to the map of Duskfall, of Akaros rather, you could in fact try to take them via boat, but then you would have an overland journey after that.
Yeah.
And you'd have an overland journey with many heavy hull bodies. So
yes,
if you
but
can figure
getting
out
out
a way
of the
around
city
that-
is one of the most important steps. And if the
Mhm.
boat
It
can
is.
get us a jump on that, everything else we can figure out, right? We're smart
That's right.
guys.
Sure.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? I like it. I think it's transport. I think the detail is by ship and then over land. And then we have to just figure out the vehicle for land. That's the only like hang up that I think we should know before we go in, because the detail says the route and the means, like we need to say ahead of time. So just the basic plan.
Oh, what if we contacted someone to just drive a vehicle outside of the? They just need to take the vehicle out into the Deathlands, and we'll reconnoiter
Rendezvous.
them. Yeah,
At
and
the
then
coast.
load the husks onto
Okay.
there.
Up and go.
Oh, great idea. Ready? we have a big crew now.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
we can send our cohort out to
Yes.
meet us out there with the car. Well, we don't have a car though.
But we could steal one.
Yeah.
In fact, cars don't even exist in this universe.
This would have to be a
Wagon
But-
or something.
Sure.
wagon
That's what
with
I
a
mean.
draft
I mean, like
animal or a
Weird steampunky sort of motor vehicles do exist.
okay.
Generally, they are hulls as well. They are like kind of instilled with spirits so that they can have motive power. Maybe you guys are thinking of doing it with wagons.
wait a minute. Question. Is it possible in our mind that we don't need a land vehicle? Because theoretically, couldn't we move the spirits from their location to the ship weightless and have just all the holes on the ship? And then, or do you have to bring the hulls to where the spirits are?
Yeah,
Or can
d-
you
it-
move the spirits over land?
Can you
with-
tra-
without hulls?
can
Bring
you,
the
can you
spirits to the
transport the ghosts to
So
the hosts?
that would
The hosts
so
to the
so
hosts.
so our Whisper Stacks consults Brenda the ghost girl, and Brenda says the hulls must be brought to my village.
Yeah. Okay. Understood.
Yes. That is not the way the process works. Trust me, I know.
Okay. So then I think that I think that we have what we need. I mean, it's just that it's a two-part thing. We have to
Mhm.
get a vehicle, and then we know the boat part, but we just have to get a vehicle. That's got to be part of the score. Is like
Cohort
steal it.
rendezvous.
Cohort rendezvous.
The cohort rendezvous.
Yeah.
the classic
Um,
cohort rendezvous?
cohort rendezvous.
You can give the cohorts the job, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing is like what we could do, and I'm not saying this is a good idea, but what we could do is like we just go on the ship and then we roll to see how their steal and show up went.
Oh yeah.
I
No.
like-
Totally. I mean, that's a fortune roll.
Mhm.
Right.
And
Well-
just to let you know, since you're doing a little planning right now, as a level 1 gang, you have a level 1 cohort, so that will be a 1 die roll.
Okay.
Yep, I'm just reading up on the cohort. You can send a scoundrel with them
So one of
who
us
can
could
direct a group action and use the command. You can use command. Yeah,
Let me
That's
do this
interesting.
while we're kind of taking stock. Where is everybody in terms of harm and stress? Because I think our viewers might want to know that.
Yeah.
Pretty Marco Coyle, where are you in terms of harm and stress?
I think as maybe this conversation takes place still like in the light of a hissing lamp, you see the gorgeous face of Marco, his right eye kind of taking it all in, and then he removes the stake that's like over his left eye, and as that turns towards the light, it is just a spider web of horrific scars from busting through a glass window and shredding his face, and then not getting that successfully doctored. And
Bless you, Troy.
bless you indeed. And not only that, I'm still carrying some harm from the torture I think we took. I think I'm carrying still like a -1 die harm.
Really, that's interesting because
I don't
I
think
know that Archibald tinkered to heal you last time. Used a downtime action to do it.
Maybe I just didn't. Maybe I am tripping and I'm okay.
No, it's okay. You should only have level 1 harms. Do you have
you
that?
got knocked down to level 1 harm.
Great. In that case, I just have less effect, but I'm still hurting. And stress, I'm doing fine.
Okay,
Just
good.
fine.
Good. What about Archibald Gray, the jockey? How's he doing?
Archie is similarly. He's walking a little slower. He's got a little bit of a limp, and it's not because of any joint pain or foot pain. It's because he has a gash in the side of his gut that is not quite healed all the way yet. So he's still favoring it. He also, up the side of his neck, has a residual burn from our very first score that has never been properly healed. It was on the train out there in the Deathlands. He got burned by a spiritual burn, so he still holds that as well, and that adds up to mean that he has less effect. So it's similar to Pretty Marco. He's going to be hard pressed to make things easy, but this is an important mission. We got to do it now. Stress wise, he has 2 stress points already going into this score, which gives him I think 7 remaining. So he's not too bad on stress.
Oh yeah,
he's not too bad.
When I said Pretty Marco was fine, I meant he had 4 stress. So he's about halfway through his journey.
Okay, through his stress meter, rather.
Correct.
Okay.
He's got
so
left.
with less effect can be mitigated by really, really clever plans. Finding weaknesses and using assets. Instead of just saying I run in and improvise and use my fist. Like, you want to figure out how to get around that less effect. So good luck tonight. Tin Whistles might all die, but that would be, that just works out for me since this is the finale. Finally, Stacks. How is Stacks doing? And I know Stacks failed, or not didn't fail, but did very poorly on a Vice stress relief roll in the last session.
I've never had a good downtime since we've started playing, and the last time was no different. So I'm sitting on 6 stress. That's 3 away from, in the middle of a score, I'd be taken out of it. Obviously, that would only give me 1 trauma, so I could come back, but it would be a pretty quick night for old Lyle. And I have 1 harm, electrostatic burn, but unless both those 1 harms are filled, you don't get less effect, right?
Correct.
That's right.
So yeah, I've got to play very cautiously tonight. I'm not going to be able to really aid at all. Probably a lot of devil's bargains. Be fast and loose.
This is going to be very interesting, gentlemen. The first thing I will do is say, what will be your loadout for this score? Because I think you've decided your approach using the boat. I think you've decided your detail, which is like basically, the boat acts as your transport. The boat goes halfway, and then your crew, your cohort meets you. This is a
on the
excellent
coast in the
plan.
Deathlands,
Yeah.
so that we don't have to carry the hulls through the train gates, basically.
Right. So that's a really, really good plan. But I want to know, what are your loadouts going to be?
I mean, is it crazy for one of us to go with the cohort to edge them up?
I don't think it's crazy. I just get really worried metagame wise of it being like one character's show for a long time and then back to the other characters that, but you know what I mean, like not being together.
Don't worry about that. I
I'm
kind
not
of
sure
like
how
to
that's
play
gonna
it
work.
that way sometimes. I feel your anxiety,
yeah.
but I think that'll work out. What I will say is, if someone is going by land with the rest of the cohort, remember that you own a rail runner vehicle still that that can move you quickly around the rail lines out there. So
see, I thought about that, but my concern was I'm just imagining things as the worst possible result. So maybe I'm over exaggerating, but like, is it safe to say, because it has to be on a rail, so is it safe to say that the rail is going to run close enough to the coast that we can move all these hulls onto it? Also,
would you like a gather information?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a good roll.
And
for
who
that.
is
Also,
who is gathering it?
Sorry, Jared, just to be clear, can the vehicle hold 20 hulls? Because I imagined it as like a 2-man like thing.
It's actually a little bit more substantial than that. It held your entire crew and a bunch of barrels of electroplasm.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay.
So it's a little more substantial than that, but it's not a full train. Let's actually show a map of the rail. Well, actually, let's see how their gather information goes. So, who's going to gather the information?
I think that would be me, unless you want to do it through a tuning there, Stacks.
Yeah.
I just have good scores in like consort and stuff like that, but
yeah, I'm trying to see what is the exact information we're trying to.
Is there a rail line that runs?
What's the best route?
To the coast?
Yeah, how
the
close
coast.
can we get?
I don't think it. I feel like I'd be forcing a tune for that.
Yeah.
I would use study or survey, but I only have one pip.
Yeah, survey is good, but you got to be out there, right? You'd think.
Study would be the role.
Study would be the role. Yeah. But any action in Blades in the Dark can be used to do anything. So if you have a rationale for survey, let me know.
The most common gather.
You were out there before.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so the only idea I have right now is the same one I always have, but I
just rolled a 6 too to practice. I should have just done it. Why do we do this to ourselves?
Don't practice.
Practice.
Children out there, whatever you're thinking about your tuba playing or your math skills, do not practice. It's bad.
Rule number 1. What are you thinking, Marco? Do you have a study?
I'll just put it out there. I don't have a study, but I do have a hunt. And if I knew, if one of you could point me towards such a one as knows the rail lines, then I might be able to follow them to their place of business. And if they're the sort that happens to leave a map lying about, then perhaps I could take a little gander at it. Or perhaps, just use the old fingers to pluck it away. Or maybe they're in a given mood and I could just take it.
What if we do this? What if you're the one that goes with the cohort, but on the way there you do this hunt while Archie and I go hop on the boat?
Well, we can't really do that just because the
we
got to know where the boat's going. We got to know where the boat's going.
Got to have a rendezvous point.
We don't have
selected.
Joe, I understand why you're saying that, but you're wrong. The score is starting now.
What?
Because that's how Blades of the Dark works. Yeah. And so we will start with Marco Coyle and the cohort, former Foghounds, getting their hands on a map to make sure it all is going to there's a rail that will get you close to the shore. And so Marco Coyle, you said you wanted to use hunt to do that. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, this will be a gather information roll, which means that it's not going to have like bad consequences for you. It doesn't really have a position and effect, but you will need information to be able to rendezvous with your friend successfully. So let's see how you do.
Okay, so and forgive me, so much time passes between our play that I always kind of have to refresh my memory on mechanics. But the I have 1 pip in hunt, and then I have 1 pip in the sort of XP bar for insight. Does this mean I roll 2 dice or just 1?
1 die.
Great.
Wow, we did all that for a 1 die roll. Holy shit!
Wait! What are you doing? Oh, you're using hunt.
Well, don't worry, boys, because I rolled a 6.
There it is.
Amazing.
Toot.
So
Dare I say toot?
The first step of the entire score is this Ministry of Preservation low-ranking clerk like shaking as he hands Marco Coyle a very complete map of all the rails outside of Duskfall, and here they are.
Whoa!
If we could zoom in on Akaros,
I haven't seen this map.
Yeah, so if you look, you can see that Duskwall, we call it Duskfall, the rail follows the coast pretty closely.
Yeah, it does.
Did you hand draw this, Jared?
I did hand draw this, yeah. Well, I mean, I use my collage skills, but look, you guys know I'm into paper mache right now. Listen, you can see that there is a spot where there is sort of a bay, and that bay gets very close to a curve in the rail near White Hollow.
I see that.
Now, and you can also see that this is an elevation map. It shows you where the mountains are, and there are no mountains there. So there is an overland trip of just a few scant miles to get you over to the rails. I'll also let you know that is the direction of before you get to White Hollow. Actually, that is the direction of the village of the little ghost girl Brenda, where you have to take the supplies. So whoever's moving on the rail line will pass her village to rendezvous with the other tin whistles in the boat, and then we'll have to backtrack on the rails to her nameless village, because it's been 1,000 years and people weren't keeping a lot of detailed histories.
And then at that point, the cohort stays on the boat to guard it while we go back to White Hollow with the hulls. Hopefully, fill them. Come back.
You go back toward Duskfall, actually. But yes, you got it.
Well, we have to go up to White Hollow and then back down to the ship, because we have to bring the hull. Or wait, once they're in the hulls, are they just walking? I don't know how it works.
So they are telling you that the hulls must be delivered to their village, which is between Duskfall and White Hollow. So you do not need to visit the city of White Hollow at all.
Oh my God, I thought it was White Hollow. I thought that was the
No, there's a bay near White Hollow that you're going to dock the ship in. You can, I don't want to tell you your score, but that seems like the likeliest place to do what you suggested, which is move the hulls a mile or two up onto the rails and then back to the village, which is between Duskwall and White Hollow. So, with our detail and our means all sort of ironed out, I'm going to go ahead and do the engagement roll.
Yeah.
Because remember, the first part of this is getting them out of the access tunnel in Dunslow. So let's see. Base fortune roll, 1 die. Oh, that's a 3-sided.
I was like, give it a die. Yeah,
I'll use a 6-sided. Operation is particularly bold or daring. I mean, this is an insane operation. You get that. Plans detail exposes a vulnerability of the target. It hits them where they're weakest. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think you'd try by boat. I'm going to give you that.
Okay.
Friends, contacts provide aid or insight. I think I'm going to give you that, because you are using your cohort. You just did a gather information. I feel like you get that. Okay. Target is a lower tier. Nope. District modifiers. Nope. Okay. Now disadvantages. Operation is overly complex, contingent on many factors. No. Target is strong against this approach. Have particular defenses or preparations. No. Enemies, rivals interfering in the operation. Yes.
What?
What?
And
Little
target is a higher tier.
foreshadowing?
No. District modifiers, no. Okay, here we
Wow.
go. 3 dice. That's pretty good for you guys.
That is good.
Yeah.
The engagement roll. What position will it put you in?
We'll practice.
Tell me your loadouts before I roll this.
I'm gonna go normal. I was gonna go heavy to be weird, but I don't need it. I'll go normal.
I'm going to go heavy because in Archie's view of this plan, he's never going to see an official of any kind, like unless they like search the boat, in which case, it'll just, the heavy load will be on the boat. Doesn't have to be on his person. So,
Right.
I'm going to go heavy.
And I'm going to go normal.
Okay. Here we go. Oh boy, boys. Oh boy.
Oh no.
I rolled 3 dice. They were all 6-sided dice. I rolled a 1,
No.
a 2,
Mm-hmm.
Another one.
and a 1.
Oh
Your
my
position,
God.
Your position is desperate. And so when you
badass.
go to procure the you're pulling your boat up, you're pulling the Foghound's boat up into this sort of like canal where there's an access tunnel into where these hulls are. As you do that, you spy a boat pulling out into the water, and that boat has the hulls on it.
What?
Yes, someone has already taken them. Someone has put a
Oh,
tarp over them,
no.
but the wind flaps it back for a second, and you see these weird
You son
kind of
a bitch.
porcelain masked like mannequins standing on the deck of this ship, and they are kind of pulling away out into the canal, out into the water. So that is the desperate situation. The desperate situation is someone else already has them, and so your boat is in a canal, and so is this other enemy boat.
Man.
And they haven't noticed you yet, but it is a desperate situation because your score is going away.
And
This is a whole other score now.
yeah. So, and
Well,
just so
it
we're
might be.
clear, am I?
Right.
I'm gone.
This is the question.
Yeah.
Is
Yes.
this like?
Well,
God.
Am I?
the fiction,
am I
the
on
fiction allows us a little bit of leeway, meaning right now you could decide I'm part of getting them on the ship, but then I go off with my crew of my cohort, if that is what you would like to do.
I think I would.
Okay,
Maybe
great.
just like, especially since I'm the one who found them, or was led to them initially. Maybe
Right.
just like, let's just secure these things and then head off on a train. And so perhaps I too witness this canal boat departing with our quarry.
That is the desperate position, and now I would like to know what you're going to do. Your ships are literally passing in the night right now. What would
Ain't
you
that
like to
something?
do?
I would like to conduct a ritual to summon a Leviathan to work with us.
What's that now?
That's all I have.
Oh,
That's all I have right now. Let's just throw it out there.
That's one idea. It's one
It's one
idea.
idea.
Okay,
Let's put
that's
it on the
one
whiteboard.
That's one
Yeah.
thought. We could go ahead and
We're
we
blue
could go ahead
skying.
We're blue skying.
I want to
Go ahead
summon
and-
a ghost Leviathan to work with us to take down their boat and give us the hulls.
We
Very
could
well.
do something that's never been done in Blades in the Dark before, a TPK at minute 40 of a session. That would be
This is going to be awesome.
Oh my God.
I love it.
you can study the people running this boat. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you an action. You can find out something about them if you'd like, because your ships are close enough that you probably see people on the.
Yeah, I mean that was my first instinct. Was almost gather information first at this at this stage. Like, who are these people? Any chance the spider Ochi Gray knows them? Seen them
You can-
in the docks before.
Well, because the score has started in earnest, you must actually pick an action.
No,
and
no,
there
I know. I'm
Can
saying
be,
it's-
there can be consequences for it.
Yeah. All right. So how about I say it's a survey roll? and
Okay, great.
but the risk is we got to get close because it's dark, like real close.
Right.
Mhm.
You're looking
And
for
I think
insignia.
Marco is like getting a rope with a hook on it, and just is already kind of like getting ready to like board. It's like, yeah, boys, you just scope it out, and when the time comes to swing aboard, that's when you call on old Marco. And he's like, as he's looking at you with one eye that is completely still utterly bloodshot.
All right. Let's see that survey roll. I'm going to say that because you're in a desperate position, I'm going to make it a desperate roll. Meaning you have to get so close that they can see you and tell who you are and see that you have some sort of designs on their ship. But you will have a great effect. If you succeed in this, you will know exactly who you're dealing with.
Okay. I'm just looking over my sheet for a spyglass, and I do not have one. So I think that's by design. So I'm going to say I don't have one. So here we go.
Yep.
Survey roll.
I can't mind doing.
A 1
Surveys.
and a 2.
A 1 and a 2.
Red hot. Red hot.
Wow. This score is starting off real scary.
Leviathan time.
For a 1 and a 2, what I'm going to rule is that your ship gets so close that the people aboard the other ship immediately know that you're trying something, because they're involved in a very tentative operation as well. They know that you're trying something. You have no idea who they are because it's very dark, but you hear them shouting and taking evasive maneuvers. And so their ship is starting to pull away quickly while people man weapons aboard. You suddenly notice like big harpoon kind of guns start to point toward your vessel with that failure. And so you hear and see lights come on these harpoon guns. They apparently use some sort of electroplasmic principle to fire with incredible force. And they they all aim at your ship. Now their ship is not much larger than yours. I don't want you to think that you're dealing with a Leviathan hunter here. You're dealing with another like small frigate. But they now have these harpoon guns, 3 of them, aimed at you, ready to fire. What do you do?
We've been made. He looks over at Marco Coyle and just sees like the would you have a grappling hook?
Yep. Like, so it would seem. Get down. Like,
you could,
or
you could just get down and see. I mean, that's it. That's an action. You could hit the deck and wait for them to fire, because they are harpoon guns. They're not repeating machine guns.
Yeah. That was my first instinct. It was just like when he sees these things light up, he's going to duck and cover.
Would someone like to lead an action, ducking and covering, so that everybody can avoid the harm that is going to come from these electroplasmic harpoons?
My thought is the season finale, so let's get crazy. Lyle's stripped down to just his skivvies and his blindfold and jump into the water off the back of the boat, swim to their boat, and try to wreck it while they're firing on our boat.
That's incredible. Should we try that?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys should still duck and cover, because then it looks like we're all on board, and then I'll go off the side where they won't see, swim around, and try to wreck their boat.
Great.
What action are you going to use? Lyle, it sounds like wreck, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what action are you guys going to use? Like,
I was going to use finesse.
Finesse, yeah. And how about you, Marco?
I think skirmish.
Skirmish.
Doesn't sound right. I mean,
hand-to-hand fighting usually.
Yep, don't really have something that's appropriate.
Do you have prowl?
Would you like to learn? Would you like to have Archibald lead an action of finesse, and you can kind of just roll your finesse, and if you get a 1, Archibald takes stress?
Sounds great.
Let's do that. So I'm going to start with Marco Coyle. Marco Coyle, roll your finesse action.
I roll a 2.
A 2.
Good luck.
So that does give our friend Archibald Gray a 1 extra stress because he's having to help
Marco,
and then
get down.
Tell me how you finesse this as these harpoons are about to fire.
He now knowing Lyle's plan, I think finesse comes into it now because he's deliberately acting like he doesn't know, like that they're going to fire on him. So he's drawing the fire, and he's saying, "Get down, Marco." But Marco's hanging a little bit too long because he always wants to, be in the fight. And he's just like, let me do this because I've got the finesse. And Marco is stressing him out, and he's trying to, it's hold, like he's trying to wait until the last second to like go behind a thing because he's prepping for the shot.
Perfect finesse description. I'm going to give you a devil's bargain. You can have an extra die, but your ship will be damaged.
I will take that. Yes.
Okay, great.
It might make the whole score harder, but without the human element, well, what do we have? We've got nothing.
Yeah, you don't want to take the harm here from a giant harpoon smashing through your body. So, how many dice does that give you for finesse?
That gives me 2 dice for finesse.
All right.
And I already took a stress from that thing. I'm not going to take any other stress right now. I mean, we just got to, at this point, it's so early. We got to roll and just see if this is just not going to happen. All right, here we go. Come on, buddy. 5. There
5.
Okay.
Success with a consequence. And so I'm going to rule that you do it. You wait till the last possible moment, and then you just finesse out of the way. And you get behind like a kind of a part of the ship that will withstand it. And in fact, Archibald, the harpoon smashes into that sort of strut, that's sort of like a load-bearing column on the ship, and it goes, and you hear metal bending, and the metal bends to within an inch of your face, but the harpoon doesn't go through. And you're able to get Marco down as well. The consequence...
I think it's like you duck and Marco's like, what are you doing, man? As the thing like whoonk goes right over its head.
The consequence of the situation. Let's see. Reduced effect, worst position, lost opportunity. Well, I said that I gave you that die, and the ship would be damaged. Your ship is now damaged, and in fact, Marco, you're the one to notice that one of the other harpoons went through the ship at a place down near the water line, and now you can see where taking on water. That's the consequence. And now let's go to Stax. Let's go to Lyle, who's out in the cold, dirty, filthy water of Duskfall, swimming toward the ship. But you're near like the propeller and the engine that pushes their ship through the water, Lyle. And what do? You try to wreck it. Tell me how.
Yeah. So before he got into the water, he just wears this long black robe with the blindfold, and he's over 7 feet tall. And so he removed his robe, and he is painfully thin with like white skin and scars running all over his body as a result of all of the strange rituals that he's been a part of. And then he neatly folded his robe, kept the blindfold on, and slunk into the water and just gracefully swam over while this was happening. As he approaches, he lied to Pretty Marco and Archie. He does not intend to wreck the ship. He gets up to the hull, and he places his hand on the boat and says something like, "Well, it is almost time to complete our mission, my love. But now I need you more than ever. And I'm going to try to tune to the ghost field to have a manifestation of something horrible appear on board to frighten the people that are on that ship."
Okay, very good. I'm going to say that that's you're biting off a big task there. So I'm going to say that it's going to be... risky, But if you succeed, it will have the standard effect of everybody will be scared momentarily. Everybody on the ship will be scared momentarily. You'll have an opportunity. You'll have created an opportunity. If you want them to be so scared they're jumping off, then you need to push yourself to get a. So I'm sorry, I said standard effect. If you want great effect, which means everybody screams and starts jumping off the ship, you need to push yourself.
Right. Which would be
Or
too stress to push.
yes.
And Devil Bargain is no stress but consequence. Right?
Yeah, I will pick the consequence for a Devil's Bargain.
Let me hear a DB.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it when you guys are the only crew I think that's
Counselor.
like, let me hear a Devil's Bargain, please.
You got to
'Cause,
pick and choose them, but this is a perfect opportunity here.
So
For the
And the
record,
thing is like
for the record.
metagame wise, I'm also thinking now that looking back at our ship as I'm swimming over there and seeing that it's got holes, we
This is
need
our-
their ship.
That's
This
right.
is our ship now.
the powers, the Devil's Bargain is if you want the Devil's Bargain, if you want to add that extra power of that extra die, you might do a little bit of overkill. I mean, you will. I'm telling you, the bargain is you will summon forces that you're not entirely in control of.
I'll take that bargain. So that'll be 3 die.
Yeah.
I won't push. I'm just going to see where this leads us.
I just wanted to say, for the record, we never have this score or this entire story without a Devil's Bargain, because this girl is from an Archibald
Devil's Bargain.
That's right.
That's right.
And because I did that one
Wow.
action, I had to smuggle the girl back into the city. That was the Devil's Bargain. And then like we would have this like pest on us all the time. And it just goes to you gotta take Devil's Bargains. It makes this story
Yeah.
amazing.
It can do something mechanically or it can do something story-wise. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, my friend.
Here we go. 2, 4, 5.
Okay.
5. So success with a consequence. So you took the Devil's Bargain and you wanted a great effect. And I told you what would happen. And so here's what happens. Even though you told them you wouldn't do this, you do go ahead and summon a full demon. Something big and dark
The demon of the ancient world.
is moving through the water toward their ship. You see the
That's so
sailors.
scary.
Yeah, they start
Yeah.
to ignore the people they were firing harpoons at and screaming and shouting at something coming right toward the prow. And then it's dark here. It's shadowy. The lights that you have are kind of swinging around, and you can't quite see it, but something big, black, cyclopean bursts free from the ink black water, and you watch as the crew of that ship, many of whom are wearing like weird like gas masks and carrying weird kind of like it looks like lightning rods and things like that, start to run and like take shelter as this thing smashes down on their ship. You know that now that you've summoned it, you can't. It's the size of Moby Dick. It's the size of an enormous whale. You know that now that you've summoned it, you can't control it, Lyle, and it is destroying the ship where your score is currently located.
Oh, dear.
But I can tell you that all of that opposing crew are very interested in dealing with that and not you now.
Lyle says, "Now." He waves.
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Archie's gonna say to Marco, he's like, okay. He says, "I'll take George," like one of the sailors on our ship, below and staunch this leak. Take that crew there and get the holes on board. And so basically, Marco, can you oversee like a quick, boarding and transfer? Because I'm thinking that's not our ship right now, because I think that this demon is tearing that ship apart.
Seems
So
that way.
I'm feeling I need to fix the leak right away before it gets too bad, and we can split up maybe. Maybe I can use a command role on a sailor to help me fix this leak, while you transfer the cargo.
Sounds
that
great.
sound-
Your cohort came from a nautical crew, so they should know how to stop leaks better than a jockey. So would you like to try that command roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So he takes George down.
George
Down below. Follow me. And they go down, and he's like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Where is it? And he's having George take the lead on like finding this leak.
Right, and George is kind of like feeling around, and then George kind of pulls back a panel, and water just starts kind of pouring forth, and he's like, I've got it! And you need to command him.
Yeah, okay. So here we go.
Because he turns to you, and he says, there's no way! We can't! We got an abandoned ship! We're dead! We're gonna drown!
There's no time for that. Get it done right now. Marco's off the boat. Let's go. And here we go. Let's see. I'm a little guy. God, 3.
Sickle. Failure.
Man.
A complete failure. And so George goes, look, I'm telling you, it can't be done. We have to move to the other ship. Meanwhile, Marco Coyle, what are you doing?
You heard the jockey. Let's get on board. And I turn to another crewman like, you. Yeah, that's right. You, Silent Jack. And then are these harpoons? Do they have lines connecting them to the other ship? Or they
yeah.
I think I just reach down, grab that, and begin to haul the ships together,
pulling them close to each other.
So otherwise, I mean, how else are we going to get these huge golems on board?
Okay. You are you tell me what action you're using to like heave ho with your your modest sized crew. I think there's like 6 guys in it to like pull 2 ships together.
Command.
Command. Okay. That sounds right. Okay. You can also do a command roll. And let me say that this will be with a this is going to be risky for the standard effect that the ships will be right up against each other if you succeed. But it's risky because, well, I'm not going to reveal now, but you're holding onto an enemy's weapon that you don't quite understand. Suffice to say.
Right. Oh no! Oh no! I also rolled a 3.
It rolls a. You roll a 3. You and your crew grab onto these lines, and the tin whistles aren't even going to get out of Dustfall Harbor. You grab onto these lines, and they still have an electroplasmic charge, and so your hands covered in electroplasm. And
perfect.
Those of you, but you use a command roll. You
Great
used
stuff.
a command roll. You didn't do it yourself. You didn't say I'm doing this.
That's right.
And
Silent Jack got his hand scorched.
Silent Jack and the other crew mates, because honestly, you couldn't depend on Silent Jack to pull 2 ships together on his own. They all are like like pulling away with their hands kind of like covered in electrostatic burns. I'm going to rule this many of your crew. So I have a 6-sided die. This many of your crew have been burned. This is our fortune die. Oh, no. 6 members of your crew have been burned.
Brother.
So Jared, you treat a cohort like a person, like a PC. So you give it harm, and you give it a certain level harm, and then it suffers from the same reductions of quality as a PC.
Okay, great. So they have a cohort has 1 level 1 harm. And that is electrostatic burns. Okay. So now I'm going to turn to Lyle and see what Lyle does next. But Lyle, I can tell you, your attune roll was very successful. You hear the voice whispering to you, and you realize it is the voice of Sitara whispering to you. Sitara is who you have summoned, and Sitara is not just whispering to you. He's whispering to the entire crew that he's attacking, and you start to hear them crying out and saying like, "It knows my name!" And like they're having a hard time dealing with it. In addition to a giant whale ramming the ship, you know what I mean? Like this thing is more than just a monster. It is a demonic force. So you hear the crew of this ship panicking, and in fact, right in front of you, one of them dives down into the ink black water, just raving. It knows my name. And so my friend, what is your next action?
You want to get weird? Let's get weird. I love this idea, though, that this is Satara like taking another form of this creature as well. All right. So, I mean, one of the great things about this game, and we say it all the time, is the equipment. The way equipment is done. You just decide as you go what you need. And so one of the things I have as a whisper is something called a ghost key. What's a ghost key? I'm sure I could look in here and there might be one sentence on what a ghost key is. But you know what a ghost key is? Whatever you and I decided to be right now. And so what Lyle does is he reaches into his little black Speedo and he pulls out this key that looks like it's like a little finger bone that's been wrapped and turned and made into look at like an ancient key. And I want to insert it into the air next to me to open a door into the ghost field.
Okay, so the ghost field are secret passages through the spirit world that you can use, and I'm not going to make you roll an action to do this. You used an item on your sheet to do this. You turn it, and you find yourself looking at kind of like a piece of reality kind of shifts away, and you're looking into kind of a labyrinth that is very wet. It's like knee high, waist high in water. But you can move out of the water you're kind of swimming into this like weird other dimensional labyrinth, if you'd like.
Okay, so I step through the door into this labyrinth, and I'm looking around to see if there is like some sort of superimposition of the ghost world on the material world or vice versa. This is what my aim is, to see if there's a way that I can go in and deal with these hulls and take them on the ghost field, return them to our ship, and then come out the door on the other side because they're really light in the ghost field, or kill everyone on board so that we have the time to retrieve the hulls.
So what you realize moving through the ghost field, you realize that as you move through it, that you are in like, it's almost like a circulatory system, like you're inside of veins. You're not really inside of like a passageway, but digging through it, you kind of come to these places where you can see like other holes out into the world that you came from. And you realize that these holes are the hulls. There's like all of these holes back into reality lined up like in this area near you. So now I want you to explain to me how you do something to these hulls using these holes on these hulls. So how do you use the holes on the hulls?
How to use the holes on the hulls?
Yes.
Man. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's a way that I can capture all of the holes with my lightning hook. See if I can it would be some sort of action to try and like capture them all. Like I'm running the lightning hook through them, seeing that they're attracted to them without harming them. But then they become weightless on this plane, and then I've got to move through the circulatory system to get back to our boat, which will hopefully still be there. So it's a really obviously risky, desperate. I don't even know what the role would be. It's kind of a tune, but I might.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
You already used a tune or you used supernatural means to get here, so it could be something else. If that makes sense for you, Lyle, here's what I'll say. No one knows what a lightning hook will do if you take it into the ghost field, because lightning hooks use electroplasm to manipulate, move, and harm ghosts. But you're currently in an entire environment that is made of ghost energy. This has a chance of working. You might be able to hook all of these hulls, but it will be a desperate action for great effect. And
That's what I'm thinking, because where they're spiritless hulls, I'm not going to harm the ghosts inside because they're not in there yet. I just want to see if I can retrieve them. But obviously, there's a myriad things that could go wrong using lightning in a ghost field.
yeah, it could go really, really badly wrong. I think that in fact it could cause you a high level of harm because you're dealing with a volatile weapon or device inside of an environment that reacts poorly to it. You're crossing the streams. You're using a ghost hook inside the ghost field. That is verboten. It's against the rules.
Can't do it. But you know what they do on the end of Ghostbusters, just like they're doing on the season finale of the Tin Missiles?
That's right. Do you want to try to do this?
Yeah. Now, here's the thing is I feel like finesse is the only role. I have no pips in it. But like, I don't like being that player that's like, well, clearly I could do a tune because it's my best score. I feel like it's a finesse role. I'm trying to finesse these onto the hook. I have to do it in a certain way because if I move ever so slightly, it could screw everything up. So I'm starting with rolling 2 and taking the worst. So I want a devil's bargain.
What?
I'm gonna eat stress. Let's play.
All right, let me look at my devil's bargains.
Let's
list
go. Let's
here. Okay. Oh, I know. I'm going to tick a clock, and that clock is going to be hulls damaged. And I'm gonna put only 4 segments on that clock, and if I'm gonna keep ticking it every time you guys do something crazy with the hulls, and if they get completely damaged, you fail the score because you didn't get the cargo to the person undamaged. So if you take that devil's bargain, I'm gonna go ahead and tick that that clock.
I'll take it.
All right.
That gives you 1 die, Troy. That gives Lyle 1 die.
And if I push, that's 2 stress.
That's right.
Okay,
Well,
that'll
hold
leave
on.
me
Let me try
1
something
stress away from being out.
Let me. Oh God. Let me try to join here, Jared. This is a little bit of a stretch, but tell me what you think. So,
Okay.
I think that during the recovery, it's kind of a flashback, but you'll see what I'm getting at. I'll say during kind of the recovery phase, the licking our wounds after the arms of the Marchesa, there was a period where Archie had never met Stax. And so, they kind of got to know each other. And while Pretty Marco and Frost are kind of like convalescing, these two who didn't have quite as much harm are spending a little bit more time together. And I just sort of, I was thinking maybe there could be a scene in a
flashback?
Well, it's not actually a flashback. Here's what I'm getting at. It's a scene in the Vice Den where they're simply playing a game that Archie grew up playing. And he's teaching it to Stax. And it's that game, that game at bars where it's like the hook on the string and you got to swing it onto the eye hole or whatever it's called, and he's like, oh, it's a great game. You'll love it. And he's like handing it up to Stax, to like try from his height or whatever. And they're working on this. So what I want to do is use
I don't get it.
What I want to do is use my foresight ability to aid him in the action without spending stress. And I can do that twice per score. So since I'm not actually there and I'm in the hull of this ship, I'm kind of grasping at straws here.
Well, you taught me to be better at finesse?
Yeah, so, exactly. Like he doesn't get a pip, but he gets this one time.
Moment,
yeah.
Why is that scene in the movie?
Great example.
It's in the extended version.
Great time for me to show my excellent GMing skills. What you just described is, in essence, a flashback.
It is, yeah.
But on the other hand, you have an ability that allows you to aid without taking stress.
And it's called foresight. So like you could have used it in the past to prepare.
Flashbacks cost stress, but I think in this case, you get a free one. I think that your special ability allows you to do this. And so that is my ruling. And so you may aid him. You showed him how to hook the fish.
I forget what the name of that game is, but yeah.
Yeah, a lot of breweries have it. All right, so now I'm up to 2 dice. If I push myself, I'm going to push myself. That leaves me with only 1 stress left. But if there's a time to do it, the fate of the mission, nay, the tin whistles is at stake. I have 3 dice. I don't feel good about this at all. I feel sick. Okay. Oh man. I mean, one of these could be a 6. Right?
Please.
Come on.
Come
Man,
on.
I can't even look. Oh no!
Oh
no.
Really?
1, 2, 3.
Oh my god!
No, 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 no. Oh
Come
my.
on. We always
Um,
get a 6 when we need it.
So at first it starts to work. At first,
Oh boy.
you put out your
Oh,
lightning.
boy.
You put out your lightning hook, and you sort of just kind of stick it into the first sort of tear in reality that represents one of the hulls where a ghost might enter the hull. And then you see as the lightning starts to move between them and create kind of a circuit. But then, and it looks like it's working. Like there's a circuit, like hull number 3, hull number 4, a domino effect, 5, 6, 7, and soon it's like lighting up like Christmas lights. But that's when the ghost field starts reacting, and suddenly there is a ton of like lightning, kind of just arcing through the air and arcing back on the circuit that you just created in a way that it's not supposed to, and there's a ton of electricity everywhere, and you feel it enter your body, Lyle.
Oh.
As you get a backdraft scenario inside of the ghost field, as
Yes.
just white blue fire just tears through this metaphorical tunnel you're in, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to give you a level 3 harm.
Ooh.
And that level 3 harm will be called fried soul.
Oh.
Maybe we should call it fillet of soul.
Mhm.
Your
that's
soul has been completely fried. Now a level 3 harm is pretty dire, right?
Yeah.
If you take
You're
2
out
of those, you're out.
of it.
If
No,
you take
right.
two level 3 harms, you can be dead. Like I as the game master can rule that you're dead.
Right. But also I need help. It says need help
Yeah, at
now.
level 3 harm, you are
Right.
out of the score. Like you
Okay.
have to be helped for everything.
All right, so let's
basically.
talk resist. Like if I try to resist, one thing I did with Lyle that I didn't do with Pontiac because I didn't know the game when I built the characters. I made sure to put a pip in both insight skills, prowess skills, and resolve skills. So I have a good chance of resisting this. I just can't remember how resist works.
So basically
6 stress.
Yeah, you just resist it. And you roll to see how much stress you take. If you
But that
roll,
could kill me.
well, it doesn't kill you, it just takes you out of the
It
score.
takes me out of the
The
score.
harm could kill you because you're
Yeah.
separated from us in the water. So it depends if you want Lyle gone now or if you want Lyle just out of the score. Like it's tough.
But there's a chance if I try to resist it,
You
I
could roll
wouldn't
a
take
6
any stress.
if you roll a 6.
Right.
So basically you take 6 stress and you reduce it by how much you roll on a 1d6.
Right.
Right. But with level 3 harm, I'm still out.
No, you don't take the harm or you reduce the
You
harm.
won't take the harm if you decide to resist it.
Right, but I'm saying if I resist it, I'm going to go to Trauma Town. If I don't resist it and I take the harm with need help, I'm basically helpless, right?
And to be helpless in the water is a GM call, but that's tough.
Well, I'm helpless on the ghost field. All right, I am going to try to resist it.
He's in another plane.
I'm going to try and resist it.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
But I'm only going to get 1 die, right? You get your lowest. I have 2 in insight, 2 in resolve, and 1 in prowess. So I get 1 roll.
By the way, guys, I'm getting some info from our very
I'm reading
talented
it too.
secret GM, Clinton Trucks. Trauma takes you out of the scene, not the score. So, if God willing, the Tin Whistles are able to get out of this battle between boats and a giant demon, then possibly you could come back if you just take a trauma.
I did not know that. Oh, that's
you know what?
wonderful.
I'm not worried about it. I got some fun ideas either way. I'm going to try and resist it. Let's see if I roll 6.
I also believe if you resist it, you reduce it.
All right. So
maybe that's just armor, but I'm still looking into it.
I rolled a 4. So I'm going to take 2 stress.
2 stress.
That will basically Lyle falls unconscious in the ghost field. And I guess do I choose the trauma or do you choose it, Jared?
I'll allow you to choose the trauma, and then I'm gonna say I think that Joe is right. Normally you would just make it a level 2 harm that he takes, but I'm gonna rule that this is really weird, metaphorical, supernatural, metaphysical stuff. So you don't take the harm at all. You resisted it. You took the 2 stress and you took the trauma. What is your trauma that you're going to take from this?
Part of me wants to take haunted, but I think I'm going to take reckless. That was a reckless maneuver. So I'm going to take reckless as my trauma, and Lyle just as the electricity is running through his body, he's trying to hold himself against it. He just faints and falls in this labyrinth.
Very good. Just his body, chorus, energy's coruscating through it. It just is. He's in a field of white light. Just kind of, his soul is on the barbecue, just like sizzling. And maybe he'll come back later. But meanwhile, we have to hop back to our friends who have a sinking boat.
Mm-hmm.
And currently no way of getting those hulls aboard it. So
off of the boat that is also currently being
off of the boat that's being attacked by a demon,
Moby Dick-sized aquatic demon.
That's correct. Yes.
Great. Just great.
Yeah, you got it. So Marco Coyle, any ideas? You were told to get the hulls off. Your cohort have electrostatic burns from trying to just pull it using the harpoons. So what do you want to do?
What is the state of the boat that was being attacked by the demon?
Also taking on water, probably more than your boat is, and you don't see you don't see an organized attempt at saving the boat from the other crew. They seem panicked, although they started with a organized attempt to fight off this thing. They are now screaming, falling on their knees, swinging at shadows. Something is inside of their minds. You can hear them gibbering and howling from the other deck.
Yeah, I want no part of that. I mean, it looks like these fucking holes are going down. Especially since like the 6 of the crew is now burned up hand-wise. And this would be like virtually.
That does not give them any reduced effect or anything though, because they only took one level 1 harm. So
the jockey give me an order. Well, and I'm gonna fuck it. Coyle finds a cleat on the boat and he's like, "You fix this fucking ship, you. I know you can do it. Now see it done." And ties a chain to a cleat, or hooks it like to the and then to his belt, and dives into the water to get to the other boat.
Great. I'll allow him to. Is that a command roll from him to try to get them to clear up the boat, or is it?
Wait. I'm sorry. Are we talking about? Are you yelling to fix our boat?
Correct.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm on that. I'm on it. You work on hulls. Yeah.
Okay. So we won't make that a command roll from you or any kind of action roll. You're in the water. You've got a chain tied to you. Now you want to do what?
This is the best Marco's got. They're husks. I don't know the precise makeup, but I just if a lightning lasso failed running its circuit amongst them, I want to try to thread this line through and around them, and then latch it to the chain so that as this boat goes down, the hulls remain connected to our boat.
Awesome.
That we could trawl them back to shore.
Great.
So this is a frogman mission. I'm trying to as quickly as fucking possible, like get up there and basically thread a chain through every like through a neck hole, through an eye socket, like around an arm, and basically just cat's cradle these hulls together in such a way that they'll still be attached to the boat. And I'm just gonna pray to whatever Daglish deities are watching over me that they fix that fucking ship.
What action are you using?
That sounds like a oh god. I mean, nothing I in order to play honestly, like he's a fighter. He's not a he's not a
not a lurk.
A worker. He's not that's not his forte. So I think I'll take a devil's bargain, I think, to try to get this done. What else can I do?
Oh God. Okay.
What else I can do? I mean,
okay, no problem.
Unless I give it a little push. But
guess what? I have my hulls damaged clock here, and I'm going to go ahead and damage them again if you want that extra die.
I'm sorry?
Because what you're talking, I have a clock here that say the hulls will be damaged, and I want to add another tick to that, meaning there are 2 ticks left. Because
it's so
what you're
smart.
talking about,
it's so smart because it's easy for you, like creative wise at this point, and it is. The stakes are enormous on that devil's bargain. Like each time we're ticking that clock, it's so great.
Going down. Yep. All right. So that means I add another die, right?
That's right.
Which because I have nothing in, I believe this would be, I mean, it sounds like prowl, and I got nothing there. So this just means instead of rolling 2 and taking the worst, I just roll 1, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Oh boy.
I'm going to say that it is. I'm going to say
way,
that this doesn't sound insane to me. This sounds risky for standard effect. You will have tied all of the hulls to your boat if you succeed in this. What I want to tell you is that as you're doing this, one of the other sailors comes up from this boat, and they've ripped off their gas mask, and they have holes where their eyes should be, and they're like, I can't see it anymore. So that's why it's difficult to tie all these things up, because there are literally lunatics running around on this boat now.
Pure chaos.
Okay. He just like grabs him by the ear and like pushes him away. No time for that, damn ya! And goes about it. All right.
Throws him overboard. Wilhelm scream. Continue.
Yep. And here we go. Rolling a dice.
Come on, dude. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a 6.
Oh my God, we're like 20% of the way of getting out of the harbor of this score.
Here's what I'm going to rule. The other ship is in fact going down, and as it does, the deck lurches right as Marco finishes, and suddenly the hulls all start falling over, smashing into the deck, but they're all secured to this heavy metal line that he's run through them, and they start sliding off into the water, but they catch. They're all being held and kind of dragged through the water by your boat, which is currently taking on water. Archibald Gray, what do you do?
All right, so Archibald is down in the the hold of this thing, and so so George is like, it can't happen. We got abandoned ship, and he's just like, and Archie just like sort of gets like steely calm, and he's just like, if it's that bad, then go for the yellow box. Stop messing around. And you see like light dawns on George's face, and he's just like, and George is like, but I don't know how to use it. And he's like, then get out of it. Stop wasting my time. Go help Marco. And he like wades through this water because he's so short that it's like it's already coming up to his knees. And he's like, and he goes over to this bright painted yellow box that is wooden box that's underneath the hull of the ship, and he like undoes this latch, and the iron hinges squeal as it drops down, and there's this like package inside of it, and just like stencil spray painted onto it, basically painted and stencil onto it. It just says for emergency use only. And I'd like to do a flashback.
Yes, I think you need to, because I didn't know about this yellow box.
I'd like to introduce you to the yellow box.
Yes, please paint your flashback for me.
So in Busted Mufflers tradition, I'd like to take you to the scene. We get a break from this harrowing night encounter in which we're all going to die, and it is things are calmer. It is a normal night in Duskfall, day, night, whatever. And Archibald is walking down the street with a pep in his step and a grin on his face. He has a little bit of electrostatic burn, but otherwise none the worse, and none the worse for wear. And he walks down, and you see he comes to these storefronts, and he turns into one, and ding, the bell rings as he walks inside, and we sort of scan up to the name of this business, and it's called Permilia's Nautical Supply and Emporium. And he comes in, and behind the counter is Permilia herself, obviously.
Yes, of
And
course.
and he says, well, nice to meet you. My name is Archibald Gray, and I've recently come into ownership of a boat, and I need some supplies. So I was hoping to do a bit.
Well,
of
you're
shopping.
going to need the yellow box. The first thing I tell clients to buy is the yellow box.
Are you putting one over on me? Are you doing the salesman trick? Because I'm
No,
telling
no,
you, I
no.
know-
Let me show you what's inside.
And we can cut back to the present now
We
if
cut
you'd
back.
like.
Yeah, so he pulls this thing out, and basically what it is it takes no skill to operate. It is a for idiots damage control situation when you've got a puncture in the hull, and it is basically you just pull this string, and it enacts a sort of electroplasmic powered foam that like zaps all of this foam, and it just goes like onto like a hull, and then it hardens like this really, really heavy, and seals everything. But I'm sorry, not heavy, but like sealant, like a foam rubber sealant that cakes the.
That happens. Normally, I would only make you take one stress for that flashback, but it involved a really kind of cool item that you thought up. So you need to take 2 for it. One to have just prepared it, and 2 for it to be an electroplasmic super item.
And that should, and I'm hoping that 2 stress basically stops the leak.
It does. The leak is stopped. The tin whistles have the hulls, everybody.
Yes.
Because the other ship is going down. The only problem is that the demon that Lyle summoned is you can Marco, you're probably the one who's climbing up that rope of holes that you have. You see that the demon is like the ink black water is filling with another kind of liquid. You can smell blood on the water as the demon is just kind of through the crowds of people swimming in the water, just like swallowing them all at once. And now you can tell that if you don't move quickly, the threat I'm trying to hint at here is you're next unless someone moves quickly. So
I shall be swallowed by the beast. And he's like shimmying up that chain as fast as his meaty paws can get him.
And Archie comes back on deck, and it's just looking over, and he's like, "Where's Stax?" Panicking, and in this nightmare across this other ship is now submerging.
Marco's head whips around in the water, trying to see Stax's skinny frame.
Can we see him? Do we see
is he in
see
this
anything.
plane of
There's
existence?
no sign of him.
Well, get the hulls on board. Let's go. There's no time. That thing's coming for us next.
Go spare the steam. And I'm clambering up the chain to get to the ship.
The cohort are helping you, complaining loudly because their hands hurt, but they are dragging the hulls on board. How are you going to get away? Because the thing is going to turn toward your ship next. In fact, it's doing that now. In fact, you see an enormous green glowing eye open and consider your ship as its bulky form begins to turn in the water.
Can I say that Archie has learned a little trick in his little time here as working on this ship with this ship, and I would like to make a roll to do an equivalent of what he's hooked up for just such a situation, of like a ship version of like an afterburner, basically. So a very brief burst of speed that comes through, and it's an electromagnetic thing that he sort of, or electroplasmic thing that he sort of set up. So I'd like to make a tinker roll to give the ship like a short burst of speed.
Great.
To get out of the way of everything.
That's a great idea. Let's give it a shot. This is going to be a desperate action, and I think it's desperate because if you fail, this thing is attacking your ship, which I think we can all agree would be a huge setback for this score. it will have the standard effect that you will get away.
Okay. All right. I will. Oh God, it's so hard to say if I should push this roll because, like, this is. I just feel like it's the whole mission. I feel like if this this creature gets on us, it's over.
Idea, but
Okay.
What are you thinking, Ross?
I mean, this is wildly outside of the box for Marco, but it's finale time. You want? I try something weird.
Try it.
Weird. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if this will work. I hope. But okay. Well, I'll do a flashback.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm listening.
I said Marco came from the Dagger Isles on shanty boats over the water. Traveled as a boy across this water, and all clustered together out in this ink dark sea. And some of the old gaffers out there, you see these sorts of leviathans out there from time to time, but we're a hardy folk and we're spiritual people, and there's priests among us who, when these leviathans breach, have a way of dispelling them, talking them down, sending them back into the depths from whence they came. Now, sometimes, of course, they're gobbled up and never seen again. But sometimes, just sometimes, they catch the ear of these demons that troll the depths, and a little accord is met. Now, they don't just do it with the powers of speech, of course, but back in the Dagger Isles, if you cut a tree that's been struck by lightning and bury it in a graveyard for 3 months, dig it up under a full moon, and then you carve that into the treble cross. That's one bar with three slats on it. You can use that to create some sort of conduit twixt yourself and the beasts of the water. And one of the fucking things on my loadout is arcane implements.
There it is.
That is the most fantastic description of an arcane implement I've ever heard played.
That's how
So
you do it.
because you're gonna need to make an action roll to use it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no stress for that flashback. No stress at all. Just check off that item, arcane implement.
Great.
And let me hear what you do. Are you gonna try this?
I'm gonna try this. So I think if I turn and I see I see the jockey there, like, is this
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
we're attached to a great deal of weight, and Marco reaches into his like enormous like pea coat, and you see the treble cross come out. It's like, well, my gaffer be weeping if he saw me with this. And steps out onto the prow, and not much for speeches, but then raises it aloft, and just fucking goes into it, and just like trying to wind up into what he would hear these old bearded men on the ship scream out into the water in the middle of storms. It's just like, whoa! Woe to those that breach their inky home to come here where the living ply the waters. Plow the furrows of your darkened home and menace us no longer. We are not fodder for those demons belched up by the salt washes of the ancients. By the treble cross, I command you.
+1 die.
Oh my god.
+1 die. Wow.
Oh,
So what action are you using though?
I'm consorting with it. I'm attempting
Add
to
a die to that
convince it.
consort. Add a die.
Oh, amazing.
Oh my god.
Okay. I rolled a 5.
All right. Success with a consequence. And boy, it's so cool that I already have my consequences mapped out here. The creature comes down near you as it kind of veers off, and it smashes some of the hulls up against your ship. And you now have only one tick left on your hulls damaged clock, or the entire score is a wash because you have completely destroyed the hulls. But it veers off. It smashes up against the hulls in your ship for a second, and then it returns down into the water. Now you can see there are many people on the shore taking note, probably the authorities. But long story short, the Foghound is away. Your crew drags the hulls up onto the deck. You have your cargo. Now all that is left is a journey all the way into the Deathlands to deliver it.
That was supposed to be the easy part.
None of this happens without that desperate engagement roll. That's amazing.
Best
I can tell you something.
finale ever.
I can tell you something, which is that once you get all the hulls onto the deck and you're inspecting them, something strange happens. And for that, I turn to Troy Lavallee. So these hulls are lined up there. A lot of them are cracked or bent or covered in bilge, canal scum. Some of their like beautiful white face plates have been kind of marred. But one of them starts to move. Troy?
All right. If I start to take too much creative license here, you tell me to slow my roll.
Pump the
brakes,
Lavallee.
But because I wasn't planning on let's just see what happens. I'll start with a flashback of like the night before the score, and Marco and Archie come in to see Lyle just standing by the window of their lair or whatever it's called, our place of where we're preparing, and obviously he's got the blindfold on.
The arms of the Marchesa.
The arms of the Marchesa, right? And he's like, I was waiting for you to come. Please, let's speak. I have this feeling, I have them from time to time, that this may be my last score with you. I was brought to you from an old friend to do something for him. Pontiac. You see, Pontiac was a young boy when I met him. I purchased his services one evening, and one evening turned into many evenings, and then into several weeks and months. For me, it was love. I do not know if he felt the same way, but we were close. And one night there were these men that wanted something that I had, a cult book from the early days of the Imperium. They meant to do me harm, and that boy saved my life. And from that day forward, I owed a debt to him, and that is why I joined the Tin Whistles. Should I get lost in this score, hopefully I will see you again in one way or another. And then we come back to the ghost field where where Lyle is laying unconscious in this circulatory system labyrinthine maze. And he's covered in burns, and he kind of wakes up and he sees the holes, the way you described them as holes. And he just uses every last bit of energy, just kind of crawls along these winding tunnels towards one of the holes. and goes to climb in. And as he does, you guys on the ship see like this ghostly apparition of Lyle appear, and like one of these hulls, a compartment opens up on it, and the apparition of Lyle climbs into the hull. And you see him, and he looks at you for a second and removes his blindfold to look at you with his eyes, and then closes the compartment, and the hull comes to life with the soul of Ponexo inside of it. And it's this, I imagine it, if you play Dark Souls, it looks like Smaug, like Ornstein and Smaug. I said this to Clint while you guys were talking. So it just like stands up and nods.
Wait, would we know it's the soul of Pontiac without talking to it? Can it?
No, I don't know if it can talk yet. I just whipped up this hull sheet while you guys were doing the end of that desperate action. I think he could probably talk right now.
Slow down, Mr. Creative, taking over the whole story. Wait, I just realized this. This is an actual class.
Yes, a hull.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, a hull is a playbook.
That's right. It's an advanced playbook, right?
Yes,
and
and we know that Pontiac is a spirit in theory because Pontiac took a head dive. Viewers, maybe you remember from many episodes ago, and so Pontiac's spirit is currently in this hull. But I now must move the spirit. Here we go. There it is, and there's Pontiac. So the hull inside of a mechanical body.
His mechanical body has no insight whatsoever.
No.
Well, look at my other stats. They're crazy.
They're ridiculous.
Pretty jacked and stacked.
Oh,
Yeah,
this is going to be sweet.
It's like mindless.
It's going to be sweet because we must now move the story to we're going to jump ahead. Boy, I made a bunch of notes for tonight, and they're just sort of useless. So I'll throw those over there.
Hold on for a second. I want to come up to it, and I just want to look at it as it starts moving and be like, Stacks. Is that you?
I like walk over and give a little like doom 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 doom.
And it's like 9.5 feet tall, and it just looks down. I wish Pontiac had like some signature gesture that I could do to like let you know it's him. But yeah, I think in this moment you don't know. So let's see if there's a way that I can remind you.
I think it's Stacks. How'd he do it? Well, if anyone could, it's him, right?
I suppose so.
And if he can't talk, maybe he can fight.
But I'll say he can.
Yeah. Can you fight?
Good enough.
Yeah, I'd hate to see you coming at me in a dark alley of an evening.
Well, all right then. I think the mission's on.
The mission is in fact on, and I
love that we think it's Stacks, but we don't know it's Pontiac. It's amazing, dramatic irony. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Are we sticking to the idea that that one crew is going to meet via land?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I would like to deal with these things with a roll. So whoever's in the ship's crew needs to tell me what action they are using to carefully navigate a ship full of extremely illegal contraband all the way up the coast. Whoever is in the land crew, and I think that's the cohort and Marco, you need to tell me what action you're using to get out of a Duskfall via rail and all the way to that bay right to the north of White Hollow.
Great.
Wait, so Mark, are you growing with the cohort still?
I think that was the idea. Yeah, that I was coming with y'all to pick up the gear. Just a little light mission, and then we go on to the meat of the score.
Dude, I love this so much too, because now I'm imagining Archie driving the boat, and just like next to him is this giant silent golem that's just like standing there. You know, he's not talking. not much for conversation, are you? All right. But yeah, he's so all right. Oh, jeez, I don't know. All right, I'm gonna say I'm thinking maybe I'm trying to decide between study or survey. Like, I think it's really, when it comes to driving the boat, it's just about knowing the shipping lanes, right? Knowing the coast, knowing that stuff. So I'm thinking maybe study. I mean, he got the maps. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just about knowing the maps.
Okay.
Remember, he navigated this boat when we first stole it. He got it back through that really difficult situation. I believe
Desperate
he
roll.
rolled study.
Yeah.
Because it was all the charts and the maps and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, great. That's going to be a study roll that is risky because if you've missed something, if you've gotten something wrong, the danger isn't that you won't make it to your location. It's that you'll be stopped by the authorities. Like you're having to use smuggler routes. Do you understand? Like you're having to use canals that are normally ignored or that are only open for a certain time, and then they shut down and like the water drains. Like you're having to avoid the ministries of Duskfall that try to, litigate cargo.
Okay.
Meanwhile, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like this because I think it's all study. I think this is just, he has to study the movements of the customs patrols or whatever. He has to study the actual coast. He has to study not the tides. You know what I'm talking about? The whatever, the way the water's moving, all that kind of stuff. There's so much on his mind. I think that it's very stressful, and so I'm gonna push the roll.
Okay, very good.
I think it's so stressful trying to juggle all of these variables that are out of your control.
Sounds good. So you get ready to roll that. And Marco, what action are you going to use to get your men and the ground transport out of Duskfall?
I mean, I'm awfully tempted to use almost the same tactic that we used on our very first score, which was to have forge a work order to get us passage out of the train yard. I see here in my equipment loadout is just documents.
Very good.
So and I think
very
that
good.
And we used last time, I think, especially now with a vice den or multiple vice dens in our purview. This is the kind of thing where like maybe one of our employees could have spirited away from a client.
Excellent. I mean, you have it on the sheet as part of your loadout. So as long as you're sticking to the normal loadout that you chose, you can pick documents and then I think you still need an action though. I think the documents will help you, but you need an action to get out of the city. So which one were you going to use?
I think seems like just maybe consort with the officials.
Right. Okay, great. So give me a consort roll, and because of those documents, I'm going to take it from risky to controlled, meaning it's not quite as dire, getting in and out of the city for you. And in fact, you think you might use the documents to get your way into like an abandoned section of wall that leads to an ancient gate. And so I would like both of you to roll for me. Does anybody want to push, or do you want a devil's bargain? Anybody?
What's the devil's bargain for this? Because I can't have the ship getting caught up with authorities. Like,
you really, really can't. The devil's bargain. Luckily, in the cheat sheets for Blades in the Dark, which are available at the websites for Evil Hat, they have all kinds of lists of things. Suffer harm, nah. Sacrifice. Oh, here we go. You need to give me coin. Sacrifice coin or an item. You need to give me coin that you've had to grease some palms to like get through these different like little aqueducts and things.
All right, I don't have the coin on my sheet. I think that's
the crew sheet has it,
sheet.
And I'll just go ahead and roll a fortune roll to see how much coin you have to give me.
I can also
4 coin.
Oh, that's a lot.
4 coin, but this is the greatest score that will ever happen.
That's true. It'll be well worth 4 coin if we get the entire treasure vault of this ghost family.
Yeah.
I can also assist.
Well, I've got 3 die at this stage.
Oh,
I
okay.
think let's. We paid the coin. I paid the stress. I'm at my limit too now. Like we're getting down to the end here, but we haven't even started the score. This is amazing.
No, you've started it. It's okay.
No, I know,
3
I know.
dice sounds
This is
pretty
the score.
good.
3 dice sounds pretty good. I mean, especially the way we've been rolling tonight should be great. All right. Can I roll it? Here we go.
Yeah,
The ship
I
trying
think
to
we go.
sneak out and get up the coast, down the coast, south of White Wall or whatever it's called, Whitestone. Here we go.
Just north of White Hollow. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see what you're saying now.
That's okay. Yeah, just north of it. Yeah.
If you look down south, you'll see where my confusion was. The track actually touches the water in the artwork. It's pretty cool. Right
Oh,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
You
see that,
right
but that's
there.
not where you're going. You're going to
I
go to a
understand.
closer spot. Yeah.
Here we go. Come on, buddy. Come on. God damn. 1, 2, 4. So I
4.
did eke out a 4.
Success with a consequence. The consequence, I'm going to say, let's see. You're late. Meeting your rendezvous point, which means that it's going to put your buddy in a worse position. I'm going to say that you are now desperate, Marco.
Oh boy.
I don't know if this makes sense. Maybe it will in a second. You are now you're rolling desperately. Somehow, word has gotten out that people are trying to get out of the city, and suddenly they're tightening everything up. They're placing more guards. They're looking more closely over documents. Because at some point, I think the Foghound just had to bash.
Mhm.
I think the Foghound at one point just had to bash through a barricade, and that's thrown up an alert. There we go.
That's fair. That's fair.
See, I knew it would
Alright.
make sense eventually. So now you have a desperate gamble here that will have the standard effect of getting you out of the city, and you are looking at harm because you're going to be fired upon if you fail this.
Okay, so I'm consorting. I've got my documents. If I push, I add another die.
That's right.
Or that's-
2 stress, but you add a die.
I think the situation that you're describing is incredibly stressful. So that makes total sense to me. I think, as Marco, as the smile never leaves his face, perhaps you might see some sweat begin to bead on his forehead.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, looking a little close. But here, John Law's arm reaches pretty far. So I'll take those 2 stress. Oh my.
Right.
And now I got 3 die. Oh Lord.
Here we go.
Oh, boxcars. I rolled 2 6s.
Oh, that's a crit.
There-
That's a crit.
That's a crit. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That's the
So
best.
Oh my Lord.
That's the best thing
Oh,
that could happen.
gosh.
So not only does your roll get you out of the city, but it gets you past one of the things that I have set in your path as your game master. So I think as you're rolling southward along these tracks at a rapid speed, the crew is actually working in tandem with you in perfect synchronicity. You notice that a giant toxic cloud has built up behind you. A storm of toxic gases. One of the
cool,
dangers here in the Deathlands. The reason that those weird Deathland scavengers were wearing the gas masks. There's these miasmic storm fronts that move through. You guys, it's nipping at your heels, but you move down the track faster than.
I just want to say canonically that Pre-Marker removes his coat and like takes off his shirt and like dunks it in some water and like wraps it around his face just as a makeshift like mask, and continues to pump along with whatever limited filtration that provides.
And so, with both parties having successfully navigated out of Duskfall, you meet in a quiet bay just north of White Hollow, and you begin loading the hulls onto the rail runner.
Can I say something that it just occurred to me, and I wonder if it's bothering Archie as a spider, as a conspirator. I think that on this long journey with no one to talk to, looking at this golem next to him, he's running through in his head, who were they? Who was on that ship? Who is doing this? He couldn't identify them at the time, and it's bothering him. It's eating away at him. And one thing that occurs to him that he's thinking of is, as a spider, like, what would he do? And he's wondering if the girl, Betsy or whatever her name is, I can't remember. Brenda is hedging her bets. Like, if she's giving this score to multiple crews and telling them that there'll be all these riches, just so somebody gets it done. And he's thinking this, and he's like, I don't even know if we can trust this girl. Like, as he's approaching, but he has no one to talk to. You know what I mean? So he's not saying it to Marco. But when they arrive together on land, he doesn't even want to whisper it to him because he doesn't know she could always be there. She could always be listening. So he's like, anyway, it just occurred to me now, and I'm like,
you're falling asleep, Archibald. You have been awake for over 48 straight hours, getting these hulls up the coast. Or down the coast rather, and as they're loading them off, it's finally like you finally are able to catch 5 minutes for yourself. And although Archibald is not attuning, he finds himself, as he slips between consciousness and wakefulness, sort of slipping slightly into the ghost field, and the girl Brenda stands before him, her hair in those like Princess Leia episode 1 like highly German buns,
you're
a
so
little
highly German,
a dress with like delicately sewn flowers covering it, but very dead, very, very much dead. In fact, occasionally the lighting changes and you see, bone, you see veins, you see musculature, and she goes, "You thought my name." Sometimes we can hear thoughts here and other things.
I didn't know that. This isn't my forte. I've never done it before. And he's looking around like he doesn't understand the ghost field or the dreamland. Or, you know what I mean? Like, he's very uncomfortable.
Archibald Gray, we're almost there. It's been a long, long road. But you may have saved us. And she gives you a kiss on your forehead, and it's ice cold. And then you hear a chorus of screams. And when I say a chorus, I don't mean 20 screams. I mean, you hear what sounds like a city full of people screaming behind her. And she goes, "We have to hurry. There's not much time." And then she fades back into the darkness.
What's the matter there, Archie?
And he wakes.
You're talking in your sleep there, boyo.
Nothing, mate. It's all right. Just we're short on time. That's all. And I needed to catch a few Z's before we go. The hull's loaded.
You tell her. Working on. Many hands make light work, especially when they're made of iron like this fella here.
I know. This is a great ally to have, though. I don't know if I want to be the one that tells that one spirit that hull's taken. Know what I mean?
Yeah, well.
There's going to be one that doesn't get a free ride.
Cross that bridge when you get there.
Aye.
No.
Well, let's just try to get there first. It's been enough of obstacles along the way.
Sure, indeed.
As you're talking, the hull, the sound starts to come from it. It's kind of like a hiss at first, like a. Are you my master?
Did you hear that?
About to ask you the same question.
Oh, thank God. I didn't know if it was in my dreams. It's talking.
Well, if something asks if you're its master,
usually just say yes.
Usually
and then
just say
figure
yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But you Lyle?
No. I was someone once. But it all seems like a dream now.
That voice a bit familiar to you.
Oh, there's a lilt to it and almost an accent that I can't quite place. It's strange though, it's so metallic, it's hard to nail down. But if they know us, why are they asking us if we're their master?
Your voices are familiar to me as well. But which among you is my master?
That would be me. Let's be honest with each other, right? I mean, look, it's me. It's got your best interest in mind. This isn't a situation where I'm trying to abuse your abilities just to forward my own affairs. I'm simply looking out for you to make sure that you get what it is you want. What is it you want exactly?
I am unsure. But I am at your command.
Well, that's good. That's good.
That's good.
Right.
So we got quite a ways to go. In this life, there's some of us that are the jockeys, and there's some of us that are the horses.
Only a few scant miles need to be covered, and you actually are able to cover them in the rail runner quite quickly. And soon, on a flat, kind of dusty plain, you see a place that you haven't been in a year. A village, the ruins of a village. Or the main track all the way to White Hollow passes through them. You were using one of the little side trails, and you are approaching it. But I have bad news, which is that as you approach it, you see that a cloud is kind of like a storm front is building over it, an enormous storm front. Blacker than black, with strange kind of like oozing kind of currents of electroplasm kind of lighting up inside of it. And as you get closer, you see in the storm front faces. You see in the storm front hands, thousands of hands, legs, torsos writhing. The cloud isn't one of the normal toxic clouds of the Deathlands. It is some sort of gestalt spirit being. Perhaps the seed of it came from a smaller type being. Say, a year ago when you first ventured into the Deathlands. But since then, it has grown like a snowball rolling downhill. It has added more spirits to itself, and now it is a great colossal storm that looks like it is bearing down on the village and is about to pound it into the ground. The rail runner pulls into the village, and spirits make themselves visible. They move out half translucent to the track, and they surround all of you, and all of them are silently pointing toward the cloud that looms over the village, and you can hear the cloud's screams. What do you do?
I saw this pretty Marco in an almost a waking dream. It was entire city screaming. They said there was no time. We've got to get him in.
I'll say there's no time.
But I don't know how.
Marco's like rubbing his arm where like there's still like white electrostatic burns from when they encountered something like this, and we gotta get them spirits into these holes.
Right. Sorry, I'm gonna focus it here. I love just looking up at it because like just to show the size differentiation. So he just looks up and he's just like, I know you're probably good throwing a punch, but what's inside of you? can you talk to them? Can you tell them the plan?
Yes, I believe I have the power to make them do whatever I want.
Right then. Then get them in the holes, right? Fast.
Yeah. Be about your business then, boyo. Time's a bit of the essence.
Toom, toom.
You know
So
what I'm imagining now? It's like the Ents. I imagine being like
right.
anything worth
Yeah.
saying in Hull takes a long time.
Yeah. So, Robo Ent, are you going to talk? You're going to talk to these spirits?
yeah, I'm going to consort with them in classic Pontiac style. I mean, I could sway. I could consort. I actually, you know what? Let's do a sway. So because I want to try and draw them in to taking these. So I will just kind of walk forward against these buffeting winds towards this cloud of spirits.
I want to see this artwork, like us standing behind in the hall, walking into.
Feeling the wind. Oh.
And I'll just like raise my hands out, these big metal arms, and say, "Come, spirits, you have a home. After so long, you can return to a form such as I have. Walk like you haven't walked in many, many years. Look upon this treasure," and he'll point at the remaining hulls.
They seem a little bit confused. Maybe they didn't understand the plan. Maybe Brenda was the only one to make up, kind of go on her own with this. But regardless, if you give me an action roll, they will organize. You want to give me that sway roll?
Yeah, I'll sway. And
now you are a ghost, and you have an envoy, Brenda. So this is not desperate. I think that this is going to be risky. For standard effect, they will each all go and get inside of one hole.
Okay, and can I? I'd like to aid him in the activity. And so I'm going to use the arcane implements that I've brought, which are on the advice of Brenda, for sort of. Think of it like the best way I can describe it is like in a theater when it's dim lighting, right? You have like the runners, right? So it's sort of this like almost ethereal sort of direction, or like a runway for each of them that they can see for like how to walk right into their own hull, and it saves time. So I'd like to use my last foresight for the score to give him an aid without any stress.
Great,
and I'll use the arcane implements.
The arcane implement are it's like smudging. You light this certain incense on fire, and then the smoke creates these trails for you that lead directly to the hulls.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Archibald is creating these trails to the hulls as Pontiac in his new form gives this speech. And Pontiac, how did it go?
Well, I'm also going to push myself, and instead of taking stress, a hull takes drain. And the way I'm imagining it is that Pontiac is trying to remember his mesmerist ability. And so I'm trying to use that same thing that I used on the leader of that group.
Leader of the Foghounds.
Right.
Mel.
No,
not Nyrix.
Oh, I have no. It wasn't Nyrix. It was our.
No. Right.
Again.
What was?
That was the first. That was our first big score.
It was Margette.
Yes. Yeah, so I don't have that ability anymore now that I'm a hull, but the way I'm imagining this is by pushing myself and taking drain. I'm pulling that part of myself back. So I'll have 4 dice now to roll. 2 sway, 1 for
2
Archie.
electroplasmic lights that were kind of mounted inside of the hulls, like iron immobile face masks just go boom, and that's your version of that's your very broken version of mesmerism. Now, how does it go?
Come home. 2 6s, critical.
Oh yeah.
6 6 4 3.
You have saved a village of ghosts.
Yes!
Each of them steps in, and they the last one steps in exactly as the wave of hell hits the village, like this enormous, this like giant plasmic like tsunami crashes against the village. It literally explodes the buildings that it smashes into. But each of the hulls stands there and holds back, and it's washing over them. And it's not consuming them. It's like they're in the eye of a nuclear explosion as this enormous wave of tortured souls smashes over them. The problem is, gentlemen, that not all of you are protected by a hull.
Oh God!
And so
Archie like starts realizing what's happening, and he's like, Marco,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
And it's buildings are being blown apart, right? And the rail runner.
this is what we call level 4 harm, gentlemen. It is the
Right.
finale. Now that's not something in the book. Normally you take a level 3 harm, and if you take another level 3 harm, you can be dead. But because this is the finale, I'm going to pull out a Jared Logan special, the apocryphal level 4 harm. You need to tell me what you're going to do, because this is it.
I will just say, as this is happening, the chamber on Pontiac's hull opens, and there's space
Yeah.
for one person to fit
It's a-
inside.
Ghosts are immaterial. We can get inside the holes ourselves. There's just room for
Possibly.
one.
Well, possibly. I mean, maybe you can get inside, but you still need an action to do that. So, tell me what you're going to do.
Well, if Pontiac's hull does that and an aperture opens up, then I think Marco might apologies there. Like and I might grab the jockey and walk over and like put you inside.
No, Marco, what are you gonna do? No, Marco! And then he just like
See you on the other
slams it.
side, boyo.
That I'm not gonna make you roll an action for.
Oh man,
It's too good.
damn it.
It's too good.
Oh my God.
And then
Does
I'm looking
Marco
around. Like,
try something? Yeah, something else.
I mean, I'm looking for someone to. It's like, all right, and then look, walking up to each hull in turn, like there's got to be space in there for.
Anyone? The storm front is throwing the holes around. The spirits inside are probably intact, or they're like staying like stationary, but it's taking all their strength, and it's about to touch you when a hull pops open, and inside you see Brenda
Oh my!
put out her hand to you,
And I reach out and I take her hand.
and you roll some sort of action to get there in time
Great.
and to get inside.
All right. I think that, I mean, once again, I'm rolling in the areas where I'm not good, but I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push a finesse roll to try to like leap into this.
To get the machine open and
Get
get
this thing
inside
shut.
and get it shut. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
God.
Okay. Pushing, taking the stress. I'm right at the edge of my bar. Here we go. It's because this now just means I'll roll one die rather than rolling two and taking the worst.
Okay. Then let me assist you. Let me be like that one, that like right before you close it, and I'll take a stress to do it.
Okay,
At this
great.
point, you're saving me.
All right. Okay.
So take
Two
another
die.
die, and I'm on my last stress.
Here we go. I rolled a 1 and a 4.
We're
Success.
Ish.
Good
With
ish.
the consequence.
Okay.
The
Take her hand.
consequence, I know
Get
right
inside.
away. Yeah, you take her hand. Go ahead.
And crawl, slink towards the hull, which I only saw because I heard the voice of the jockey directing my attention to it.
You get inside, and she's like,
Never thought I'd be so glad to see you there, girl.
We are the same person, Marco. You should never fear me. And she pulls open your mouth and starts to climb into your body. The consequence that I am going to say is because you spend time in this hole with her and you are battered by electroplasmic forces while you're in there.
Don't have to.
Is that you become possessed by Brenda.
Oh my god, amazing.
You just see like a little bit of ethereal cloth with beautiful flowers stitched into it, like just trail into Marco's mouth. Like in the darkness.
Blackout.
But hold on, real quick. I want to cut into as he slammed into the hole. He's just like, no, like Marco, no. Oh, I hope he makes it. And now he's in this like hears his voice echoing in like the darkness of this like to him huge sort of chamber. And he turns around, and then all of a sudden he can just feel it like tingling all over his body as the hairs on the back of his neck go up. And he can't explain it. He doesn't see it. He doesn't hear it right away, but he just knows that it's Pontiac when he's inside the hall.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mama. And like a little like tear starts to like well in the side of his eye. And then we'll cut back to Marco before we black out.
And then you see in the darkness, just almost like the negative image, because it's perfectly dark inside this hull. The eyes of Marco Coyle are just rolled completely back in his face. His beautiful face, scarred and shredded on one side. We're going home.
When you finally when the storm front passes, and by the way, it passes northward. It passes on a path toward Duskfall.
Whoa.
When it finally passes, everything is destroyed. But standing alone in a field with a couple loose bricks, some old pieces of stone, are all of these hulls just sort of standing. And by the way, like charged with like electroplasm. They're covered in like disgusting ecto unguents that passed over them. But finally, they move to the hull that contains Pontiac and Archibald, and they help you to get out, Archibald, if you would like to get out.
Yeah. He'll get out once the storm passes.
And then the one holding Marco Coyle opens, and Marco Coyle begins speaking to you in a voice that is not his.
Oh, God. And it's so frustrating because I imagine Archie's so excited. He runs over to him. He's like, I figured it out. I know who it is. It's Mama. And he's like looking bright-eyed at Marco, like expecting this great reaction. It's Mama.
Marco, I'll allow you to play the girl, but she is going to lead them to the treasure that she promised. And it is a treasure of memory.
Okay. You say like it's Murmur. It's like, and you've fulfilled your part of our bargain, and that means you get a treasure, Mr. Gray. And the looming form of pretty Marco Coyle leans over you and kisses you on the forehead.
And it's cold. It's very cold.
And then there's no question in his mind. He's like, Brenda.
She leads you through the field, past gray flowers, to a stone circle, almost like a well. And the reason it wasn't torn out is because it's in the rock. It's in the ground. It's kind of a well that has been built there, and there, undisturbed, are limpid waters, kind of. And she points to that and says that is the treasure, a treasure of memory, an invaluable treasure, perhaps the greatest artifact of the pre-cataclysmic era. She doesn't say it like that, but she says, there it is.
There it is.
Wait, what is it?
It is a pool of water that's definitely been built into the ground here with like kind of, stone sides. It's definitely a man-made object, very old, with water inside of it.
Is it liftable? Is it too large?
It's not liftable.
It's a
No,
pool.
not at all.
Is it like a well, like way down, or could you wade into it from here?
You could wade into it, but it does appear to maybe draw water from within the earth.
You can drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you see, Mr. Gray?
No,
A treasure.
I don't. I thought it was something we could take. What does it do? What is it?
It is something.
It is a memory of a world that was lost and now is found again.
I'm sorry. I don't just. I'm looking for money, value. How do I sell this and make money? And he's looking at the golem and his friend Marco that's not there. And it's just like.
And I think, I mean, tell me if she wouldn't do this, Jared, like cups down and takes a sip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just drinks it out of Marco's open palm.
And I think Marco is still in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the time before the cataclysm, Marco's soul was someone else. And now we have come to the end of the story. And I want Marco to tell me briefly who he was 1,000 years ago.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
1,000 years ago. You just see like a sip and then bam, like this blasted heath is suddenly verdant and green, and there's like you smell wood smoke as like and you hear like the heaving of planks and boards, and it's like and steam as a piece of wood is bent into shape, and spokes are beat, and you see like a tall and, one might say, beautiful man like fitting a wheel onto an axle. It's like, I believe that'll hold, and like petting the horse at the front of the cart. Yes, I believe that'll hold nicely.
And the sun shines down on this man. And we return to the present. And the hand of the golem turns to you, cupping water in its metal digits toward you, Archibald Gray.
All right. And he'll take a sip. Oh, this is awful.
And Archibald Gray, who was he in the time before time?
In the time before time. I think that he was. Now, in the time before time, did they have these distinctions of being Skovlander or being no? Like,
Great question.
Is that a more recent,
great question.
development?
Great question. I think it's up to you.
Okay. Well, I won't put a name on it. I'll say it's a nameless sort of time in terms of who his people were. But I'll say 1,000 years ago, he was a chieftain, a very large and imposing, similar to what the Skovlanders usually are, a Viking, basically. And I'm not saying that's what Skovlanders are. I'm just saying in my imagining of
Right.
this, like a large, strong person who is essentially the head, like the leader of an entire tribe that is that are sort of like mounted warriors, basically, and they like worship the horse essentially, and they're like the Rohirrim basically, and are extremely skilled riders, and but also have an appreciation for the animal that like goes way beyond just using it for its draft capabilities.
Awesome.
And he remembers something else. He remembers that he had an axe that could cut between worlds, an axe that could cut through mountains of ice. And as you come back to yourself, Jockey, you remember where you left it. And you remember where you left a lot of such things. Where your castle once stood. And where that treasure vault was.
God.
And Pretty Marco remembers many locations that he visited in those days and the great wonders that existed there. And between the two of you, you realize you have just remembered 1,000 smuggling routes to some of the most powerful artifacts in all of Akaros. But poor Pontiac, the ghosts in the other holes turn to you and they shake their head. It is not for us. We are cut off from life forever.
And I imagine just somewhere on the water near, like on a shore, we just see a blindfold wash up on the shore and just lay there just as the tide's coming in and out. And a figure walks up to it and reaches down and picks up the blindfold. It's a hooded figure. Takes off the hood, and it's Satara, the demon.
And that is where we are going to end the story. Oh, I'd play for another hour, but I have to go watch a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old who are asleep in the building. You guys, I mean, that was everything I wanted from the finale.
Oh man, I can't.
Oh man, oh man.
Oh.
Thank
you.
Dope as
Thank
hell.
you, John Harper. Thank
you,
Thank
John Harper.
you for this.
Man, so
Thank
great.
you, Evil Hat. Thank you, John Harper. I hope you all enjoyed that. This whole scenario was Clinton Trucks and myself trying to come up with something for our Tin Whistles, and we brought it back to where it all started.
Awesome.
But of course, the people that add the real mwah, are Ross Bryant, Joe O'Brien, and Troy Lavallee. Guys, thank you so much for tonight.
Thank you.
Jared.
My
Thank you, Jared.
God.
Thank you,
A
Clint.
masterpiece.
This was amazing. I
I'd
know.
say goodbye, but we're going to be playing again together very, very soon. So
oh God, I can't wait. I want to play Blades again.
Y'all are the best, man.
This
It's
can't be
great.
the end. It can't be.
We'll
the very
play.
end.
We'll play more Blades soon, guys. It's not the end of Blades. It's just the end of the Tin Whistles for now. So good night to Ross Bryant, Joe O'Brien, and Troy Lavallee. Thank you guys so much.
Good night, Jared.
I will
Thank
see you very soon.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Night, y'all.
Thank you for watching the Stream of Blood. That was our Blades in the Dark Tin Whistles finale. On December 18th, we have another big finale. Come to the Vampires of Pittsburgh holiday special, 10 a.m. Pacific on December 18th. We hope you'll show up for that. It will be a Christmas-themed vampire apocalypse. You are invited. I'm Jared Logan. I want to thank, once again, Clinton Trucks, Brian Baldinger, Megan Arch, our social media manager, and Jill Petracek, who helps out in a dozen different ways. And I want to thank you, the viewers, for going on this journey with us. I hope that you loved it as much as I did. That's it. Go play Blades in the Dark. Bye-bye.